Here we go. How's everybody? Can you hear me this time? And just fix that. Okay. Ah, I know. I'm so fun to look at. Take this off studio mode. Okay. How's everybody doing? Good, good. You can hear me. Good to see you guys again. So, we left. Okay, is everything a little easier to see now? It's a little. I can't do a full screen capture anymore because I'm 720p and not 1080p. So everything's in a window, but it should be. Oh, it's a little bit. There we go. Little black line on the edge. Rebuild. So if I open a script resource now, what does it look like? That's a bit easier to read, eh? You're welcome, Darker, and I would expect nothing else from you. Okay. Tuesday I left off where I had just finished implementing Kissing Valanice. That was fun. Oh man, I have too many things open. Go away, go away, go away. Okay. So let me get the AGI version up. That's room 90. So there's a few alternate cases I have to implement, and in order that I have to implement them in. So let's figure that out. Alright, here's AGI Studio. You have found her, the girl from the magic mirror. She's even more beautiful than you had imagined. Okay, so I've implemented that. What did I have left to do here? Okay, and there was a condition. Right, so in the AGI version, you type Kiss Valanice or Kiss Girl, and if you're not close enough, she'll say, "Come closer, kind sir." In the AGI original, after you type that, if you walk close enough to her, that's covering my camera. And there we go. After you type that and then you walk close, they automatically do the animation. So I'm going to try to implement that. Once Graham is within 20 pixels, then it triggers out, but I need the animation still. So let's pull that from the game. What animation is it? Load view, 85 and 103. So 85 and 103 are the views for that room. There's Valanice, we already have her. 103, there it is. There it is. Yeah, I could edit all this in AGI too if I wanted to. I just discovered your channel. This brings back memories. Oh, nice. I tried SCI Studio in the past, but I suck at the graphics. You and me both. Just keep at it and you might get something decent. Any tips on how to animate walk cycles? Did you start from scratch or use existing characters from other games? Right now, I've only been using pre-existing sprites. The only new sprite, really, that I have, well, not new, but the only thing that's not an AGI sprite right now is Graham himself, and I pulled that straight from King's Quest 1. So, oh yeah, you can't see that little... Hang on a second, let me add that. Let me see if I can add that. View animate. That guy. There we go. Move that down a bit. Okay, so yeah, this is from the AGI original, or the Thank you for following, Mediocre Gamer. Indeed. Yeah, it's from King's Quest 1 SCI Sierra's remake. That's not the right... Alright, this is flipping out. Hang on a second. Indeed. There's a lot of problems I am trying to solve right now. Okay. Not you. Must match. Okay. Does that work again? Yes, it does. Okay, there we go. That's from King's Quest 1, and that's the only, yeah, I haven't gotten into walking animation yet. I'm kind of dreading it. I might get some people to help me or borrow and modify. That's how I do things. Okay, thanks for answering. Yeah, no problem. Okay, right, we just need, let's do a new view. We're gonna copy this view. I think we can just copy and paste the cells right out. So loop 0, cell 1. Grow it so it can fit? Yes. Okay, and the transparent color is... Indeed. JBH, good to see you. Thanks for following. JBH, if I'm not mistaken, if you're the same JBH, did a remix and a couple masters of the recent King's Chill variety chill out King's Quest chill out remix album. Trolls Plimer did the Space Quest Historian that just was released. You can download it for free. There's also a Q-Rates vinyl campaign going on, so I highly recommend backing it. It's really good, and you can listen to the music beforehand to see if you like it. Let me see if I can get the link. Anyway, JBH did a great track of a great cover of Greensleeves, which was used in King's Quest 1 and 2. And it's excellent. I should have this link already. Alright. There it is. Go check that out. It's also on Bandcamp. You can download it for free. Check it out. That's the music I was playing earlier when it said stream starting soon. Okay. That's one cell. Let's do another cell. Why did it do that? That's weird. Pasted it in and it ruined the background. Add a cell after. Some of the pasted images colors map to the current view cell's transparent color. No, this is okay. That's what I want. Yep. Yeah, okay. Next cell. It's just so beautiful. And again, I'm just replicating it's not coming up again. Just replicating the AGI original first. Okay, forget that. Go away. All the original AGI animations and everything, and then I can modify it after. I just want the game finishable. And then when stuff's already there, I can change it, modify it, and add to it, flesh it out. But gotta have something to start with and work with first, and this seems as good a spot as any, so as good a way as any to do that, so that's what we're doing. This is okay. And you're not seeing all the pop-up windows because I'm just capturing the SCI companion window and not my whole display. After, this is okay. And the last one, I believe. And that probably animates back in reverse too, once the animation completes. In the original, I can double check that though. Okay, and back to AGI. Yeah, there's no other loops, so that's it for him. So let's save this as... What view is that? 103. I'm just going to try to use the same numbers. Magical moment, let's call it. 103, is that view taken up? No, it's not. Good. So far I've been using the same view numbers in AGI from AGI Studio for the SCI version, and it hasn't, well, obviously it wouldn't overwrite anything unless I added something new, which I have, and I just want to make sure that I'm not overwriting stuff, which I didn't. What approach did you take to export the original assets? Like from, yeah, I'm using AGI Studio, and it allows you to just, when you open it in the view editor, you can just Control-C, copy and paste each cell one at a time, and I just paste them into Companion, which is pretty nice. I would use, there's a newer, better IDE for AGI games called WinAGI, and it's got tons of features, and it's truly a remarkable tool, but it's a little more resource intensive, and AGI Studio is just nice and comfy and pops right up and doesn't, you know, and I'm used to it, so. And I'm just looking at the logic and ripping files out. I'm not developing an AGI game, so I don't need anything more robust than that. But if anyone were to make an AGI game, I'd suggest you use WinAGI. It's really great. It has a lot of really cool features, like a visual map using each of the layout of your rooms, using the pictures of each room, and it's got connecting lines based on how the rooms are connected with the logic. It figures it all out and maps it all out. It's pretty neat, pretty nifty. All right, that's view 103. Let's throw it in first. Okay, so when we add a new thing in there, we have to make a new instance. Every object on the screen is an instant. Every sound in the game is an instance. Every I guess that's it. Every sound, every view. All different types of objects. So a Valanice is an act object, which is actor. We went over this Tuesday. Actors can move around the screen excuse me, with a walk animation cycle that automatically detects the compass directions that it's moving and changes appropriately. So we use an actor class for Valanice. A Valanice, A stands for act, just to denote what type it is, so when you're going through the code you don't forget. So in this case, it's going to the animation of Graham and Valanice is going to animate, but it's not going to move. So I think we can get away with making it a prop. I think props can animate without having to move. So we'll call it P magic moment. Magical moment of prop. So this will inherit all of props properties, and we'll set a few of them. So it's view 103, and the oh, you know what? One other thing I forgot to do was set the origin point. Otherwise, it could even if you add the coordinates, it could draw in a position you don't want. So you have to set the origin point where you want the coordinates to be on the sprite itself. So we do that by setting the origin hotspot right here. So in AGI Studio, I don't think there is a hotspot in AGI views. So we might. Okay, so what? Okay, 103. Slow view 103. So we're looking for 103. Oh, sorry, I'm in AGI Studio here. Okay, let's just maximize it. We're looking for view 103. Can't find it? Let's just try to find it. Set view object 2 with view 103. So it's object 2. animate object O2. But where's the position? Okay. Position object 0, 99, 156. SCI seems so complex compared to AGI. It's a little, excuse me, it's a little more complex. The object-oriented stuff in SCI scripts also seem quite unfamiliar compared to other object-oriented languages. Probably. I've only, my only other experience with scripting and programming is in C. I've done a little of C++, but I haven't, when I've used it, I haven't used any object-oriented part of it unless I've pulled from other people's code, which is a terrible exercise if you're trying to learn programming. But I do it anyway, so I don't retain anything. Yeah, I'm not sure how different it is in SCI Studio or compared to like other object-oriented languages. So in SCI, I'll go over it quickly again. We've got some preamble stuff here. We declare what script it is. We include some headers, and then we use objects. So these are other classes. So there's actually other scripts named, like there's one named controls, which I believe contains the base menu bar class, dialog window class, control classes, button, edit, icon, etc., as well as the print methods. Methods are quick, kind of like functions in C or C++. These allow you to have a GUI in your game as well as the print messages. Yeah, so you need to use controls in every screen, basically. Cycle when you want animation, door when you want a door. Like there's a custom, you don't have to do it this way, but the template game added a door class, which I think the SCI games had too, to handle easily dropping in code to handle the doors and stuff. It's just got some stuff built in that makes it a little quicker, easier. Feature is another one, blah blah blah. And then now public, it says public, but these are local variables that will only be used in this room, because once you leave this room, these variables will disappear and they'll have to start over. If you want something that persists through to other rooms, you need to use a global variable and declare it in the main script, which is script 0. Oh no, this is public. Sorry. This will export this room class to the rest of the game, which you have to do. Local is the local variable. So I made one, Valanice convo. It's currently 0 or false. Here's the room instance, which has properties. The picture equals the script number, so it's easy to find. Pick 90 is also script 90 for the room. And then northeast, southwest, these denote if the ego walks off those compass directions of the room, you'll end up in that next room. So if you go south, you'll end up in room 91. You can't go northeast or west, so they're just 0. It won't do anything if it's 0. The init method, this is what the method that's called when the room first loads. So it initializes, init is initialize. It initializes the super, which is the game class, I think, something like that. And then sets the script to the room script, which is down here. I'll get into that in a second. So switch switch is like a state machine, sort of. So if the previous room number, I don't know why else is here. Okay, so I haven't added any cases for which room it comes from because I don't need to, but so it's just else. So if you come from any room, position ego right here. Since you can't come here from any other room, ego will always be positioned at these coordinates, 206 by 172, which is right about here, which is right at the base of the door. So, and he'll have loop 3. He'll be facing north. And it says X is remembered. I think that's a carryover comment from something else. Anyway, then it sets up the ego, initializes the ego, and then I have Valanice initialized and give control to the player and tell the game that the program is not controlling the game, the player is. And then the do it method, there's nothing in here. This is code that's executed every game cycle, so every split second, as fast as the computer can execute the lines of code, that stuff happens here. And then the handle event is all the said statements or any interaction from an input. And here's the state machine of the room. So when you first come in, it says, you have found her, the girl from the magic mirror. And then Valanice walks closer and then walks to a different position after that. And that's it. So, I read that it was influenced by Lisp, but I never tried that language. Yeah, apparently it was. And initially, mistakenly, it was assumed that it was a lot more like Lisp because we didn't have any example of the script syntax that Sierra used. So SCI Studio used a more Lisp-like syntax, which has tons of brackets everywhere. And Phil Fortier, when he made SCI Companion, developed Sierra syntax, since we had more examples that were found of what the syntax looked like. He changed it to mirror that, and it's a little less with the brackets, a little more like C, I think. But it's still a little different, but yeah. And so that's what I'm using now, Sierra script. But I've never used Lisp myself either. I just know it's bracket city. CI scripting looks like a mix between Lisp and Objective-C. Yeah, I just went over that. With the heavy use of parentheses, that makes sense. I wonder if the SCI scripting language changed, evolved with later versions of SCI. Could have. There's kind of no way to know. Currently, SCI Companion will decompile scripts from SCI 0 all the way up to SCI 32. So games from like King's Quest IV, which was the first SCI game, all the way up to like Space Quest 6, you can decompile scripts, although you can't edit very much. You can't compile, but you can read the script. It's still not a perfect decompilation, and some objects' names don't get set correctly, and you end up with kind of a bit of a mess that you have to sort out, which some amazing people did for the template games, so I don't have to worry about that. Some stuff still falls back, if you decompile a Sierra game, some stuff still falls back to assembly code, and unless you rewrite it from scratch, there's nothing you can do about that. So it's not perfect, but it decompiles most of it. Can you copy-paste pick resources from AGI Studio to SCI Studio, since they are vector-based? They're completely different draw commands. Some of how this is set up still has some hints of AGI. Oh, neat. Yeah, it makes sense. Yes, in Lisp you will wear out your 9 and 0 keys on the keyboard. Yeah. Yeah, they're both vector-based, AGI and SCI. AGI Studio doesn't actually have a pick editor. It has a button here for pick editor, but it just launches the DOS pick edit button. That's how old this is. In Windows 95 days, this would launch a DOS. Oh, I can't talk. This would launch a DOS program called pick edit, and like from the Windows command prompt, and you draw pictures that way. I think it was made by Lance Ewing, which was one of the bigwig AGI developers in the past, along with Peter Kelly, who designed AGI Studio, and even Brian Provinciano, who did SCI Studio, did a lot of AGI stuff. He did a project called AGI 256, which gave VGA palettes to AGI games, which is pretty neat. It's one palette, it's a set palette, you can't change it, but you can make AGI games in VGA if you want, which is pretty neat. The only thing it sacrifices is the ability to mirror loop views, which AGI and SCI both do as convenience. So if you make a west walking view, you can choose for the next loop to just be a mirror of that view, of that loop. So instead of west, it's east. It's exactly the same. But AGI 256 sacrifices that. But that's just one of the things that he made for AGI as well as SCI Studio. But yeah, they're different draw commands. I can't launch. WinAGI has one, but I'm not going to launch that right now. So I'll go through this again. So I have, where's a picture of that is actually original here. So we'll go through this one again. So all this list here are all the draw commands for the picture. If I go down through it, you can see it draw on screen. Actually drew pretty unconventionally and wastefully. There's a lot of draw commands that don't need to be here. And if I was working for Sierra back in the 80s or early 90s, I would have to slim these draw commands up a bit to save for disk space, but we don't have to worry about that in this day and age. In the days of terabytes and petabytes and exabytes, I'm sure we'll get those on the horizon soon. So these draw commands are different from AGIs. You can't copy them over. So what I've done is just copy and pasted a bitmap, and then SCI Companion has a feature where if I copy and paste a picture from King's Quest 2, AGI. Copy to clipboard. Okay, so if I go to make a new picture in SCI Companion, I'll go to Pick, import bitmap to Pick. It has a feature. So here's Grandma's house from AGI. Yeah, I remember Pick Edit. Yeah. Yes, Lance Ewing. Yeah, that was him. He actually took his Pick Edit program and rewrote it in Java, so it will work in modern systems. It's pretty much the same program. Might have added a few new features, but a few years ago he came back and he posted that on the ScumVM forums as well as the SCI programming forums a while back. And so it's kind of the same program, but in Java, so it can work in modern systems. Looks the same. So he has a feature where you can import a bitmap and convert it to draw commands. So it's not quite this. If I turn up the fidelity of colors, it'll copy it perfectly. So now I don't have to. There's a whole bunch of settings here like color matching, which is more useful to. Well, it's not getting everything absolutely perfectly, is it? Solid colors is what I want, because there are no dithered colors in AGI. That's probably exact. So this is more for copying, importing in like true color, high color, VGA color bitmaps, and then condensing them down to 16 colors, vector draw commands, so that SCI can use them. So I could do that, and here it is. But it's not conventional. Here's what the draw commands look like. This is what the converter is doing. It's drawing one line at a time. I get AGI Studio up. Sorry about that. This is what it's doing. It's drawing line by line, each color. I'm not exactly sure how he programmed this, but it's pretty clever. And then by the time it's done, these are all vector draw commands, which it would be a lot smaller if it drew it the same way as AGI did, but this will get an exact replica anyway. And SCI Studio or SCI can use it just fine. There are programs out there that have been written, old programs that will convert AGI pictures draw commands into SCI picture draw commands. So convert AGI to SCI. And I believe what it does is just use SCI's draw commands to mimic, but it'll double the width, because AGI pictures are 160 by I think 168, and SCI images are 320 by 190. So, in fact, yeah, so this AGI pictures are actually not as tall as SCI, so it kind of stretched it there, and that's why there's some see down here, some pixels are taller than others, because I did it incorrectly. But you could import bitmap and not scale the image to fit there, and now it's exactly a replica. AGI Pick Resources just left a black space down here because it didn't use the whole screen to draw a picture back then. So now there's still some staircasing stuff going on there, but so there was a command line tool, DOS command line tool in the past to convert between AGI and SCI, and it would just double the width of draw commands, I think. But it wasn't perfect, it didn't come out exactly the same, and I just wanted this to be quick temporary placements for, like I did with these other ones here. Here's the antique shop. I just wanted it done quickly so I could have something on the screen, and before I completely recreate the picture or get someone to help me. I should learn this stuff, start making my own games. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Doesn't matter how long it takes. You can take 15 years. That's how long ago I started this. I just kind of left it for a number of years, but even so, it's fun to mess around with when there's no time limit of you have to finish this by a certain date, and you just do it whenever you feel like it. And so that's what I've been doing. Anyway, it was long sojourn in conversation, rabbit hole. Let's do this. So we want the coordinates to be possibly exactly where Valanice is standing. So let's get that Valanice sprite and look at her origin point. If you can see that flashing, yeah, that point right there is where Valanice's origin point is. So if I go to pick 103, it'll automatically kind of put the origin point at the bottom center, most as close as it can get. If it's not an odd numbered width, it'll do the closest thing to the center as it can, and then each cell, if it's a different width, it'll shift that origin point to find the center, and you'll have to fix it manually if it changes widths and you want it to be a fixed origin point. Otherwise, the animation will move the character around the screen as it draws around that origin point for each cell. So you have to be careful for that. But in this case, we don't. Yeah, the developer for Betrayed Alliance was on the stream a couple days ago. He's a good friend. He's been in the SCI community for years, ever since the Mega Tokyo days, the Mega Tokyo forum days. That's where all the discussion was back in the day. I believe he was there back then. And it used to be called Knight's Quest. But he said that he could supply a kissing animation for the game, and we could modify it a bit to more look like however I'm going to make Valanice look like. So that's cool. So I'll wait for that. I'll implement that in the future. But for now, let's get a proper origin point. So her, it's just in front of her back foot there. And if we put it on the toe, maybe, since she didn't have a toe. She's not wearing any shoes. I just realized that. Now we have to set it for every cell. Okay, one thing I do want to check is I want to see if the animation goes in reverse or not. I have DOSBox muted. That's okay, I guess. Just turn it down a bit because I think it was a little bit loud Tuesday. So F7, beat the game, open door. Kiss girl, come closer. Yeah, she barely moves. I'm just watching her feet. No, her back foot is in the back of her dress right now, but she stands still with her feet in the center, so I probably have to change that origin point. My only issue with SCI is that the pick resources were vector-based, but if I can draw in 16 colors in Asprite and SCI can convert it to vector-based, I should give it another try. Yeah, you absolutely can do that, so I suggest it. Just when you do, let me get back to, well, we're already there, right? When you do import, you can't see it right now. Let me add the window. Okay, can you see that now? This is the window that'll pop up when you do a conversion. Make sure you set it to solid colors if you're using an EGA palette, and turn the fidelity number of colors way up. And you might want to take off scale image to fit unless you've already got it in the proper resolution, which is 320 by 190. That's the resolution, not 200, because SCI leaves 10 pixels at the top for the status line at the top, the menu bar. So 320 by 190 is what you'll draw it in, and then I guess it doesn't matter if scale image to fit is there or not. Solid colors, highest fidelity, convert, and it should come out exactly as it looks. Is that right? Yeah, there's nothing different. And there you go. It's done. And then you'll just have to go in. The only thing this doesn't lend itself well to is drawing the priority and control colors. More so priority. So while you're drawing objects, and let me show that quick. So here, let's take the beach scene here. While you're drawing objects, at the same time you do the draw commands for visual, you can do it for priority too. So let's find the spot where the rock was drawn here. Actually, there's an easier way to do that. If you click on the history button and then click on something you've drawn, it'll automatically take you right back to where you drew that. So that's pretty handy. Alright, so here's where I drew the rock. You can see right here, I set a visual color, so it's going to draw on the visual screen. Why does it keep putting that on the screen? I'm sorry. You can't see what's happening. While it's drawing... okay, so you select a visual color here, and so this says, as you're doing draw commands, it's going to draw on the visual screen with this color, color 15, which just so happens to be this gray color. And then you can also set a priority color if you want it to draw on the priority screen at the same time. So you set the priority color for that. Now to know what color priority to set it to, you click on toggle priority lines and it shows you where they are. You can't move them around. In SCI 1 VGA, you can move these lines around wherever you want, which is handy. But in SCI 0, they're all set. But it's the same 16 colors. So the walk behinds all have to line up on these spots to determine what he can walk behind. So we set it to 8, which is dark gray. So this color right here, this is where that determines that it should be that color. So when you draw the rock, it's also drawing it on priority. See that? So that's kind of handy with drawing it hand-drawn by yourself with vector commands. If you do it this way, you can't really do that because it's drawing like this. Like lines over the screen at a time. It doesn't really take into account shapes of objects. So you'll have to do that after it's all drawn in the priority. But one thing you can do is load in a traced image. So I just pasted a tracing image. You can turn it on and off, and then you can just draw over it. So we turn on the priority bands here. We'll deactivate visual drawing. We don't want to draw to the visual screen. And we'll change it to, okay, this house post kind of lands right on the green color there, color 10. So we'll start there. So we can, now that we know it's there, we can zoom in a bit and start drawing over where it is, like this, you know, so boom, and then I'll just fill it for now. We'd have to do each line to do that grading properly, but that's fine. So then we turn off the tracing image, go back, see there's a big block there now, so we go back to the visual. This also has a feature where you can toggle an ego view, any sprite you want, it doesn't have to be ego, and it'll observe the priority. That's interesting. Oh, you can set the priority too, so let's do default priority. Will that work now? That's weird, the heads are still showing. It's drawing a little bit of an outline around the characters, but oh yeah, so okay, oh I see what happened. Yeah, I drew the tracing image doesn't match up with the converted image, so there's a little mess up there, but you get the idea. You can, if that had lined up, then you can test it like this. You can also make it observe control lines, so that if you drew on the control screen, let's say, let's put that up again just for quick. If you don't want the ego to, or any object to walk past here, for instance, poof, and turn that off. Go back to Viz. It will not go past. So this is a nice way. This is a feature I asked for actually way back in the day. It will not walk past the that white control box. So you can test where boundaries how they'll look when you, without launching the game and testing it at every little change you make, where the ego could walk up to and hit, because sometimes it may not match up. Maybe the like the ego's nose is a little farther out than his feet, and you know, maybe you want his feet to get a little closer, but it's sensing, oh, it's hitting his nose, so you can't go that close. So you that's how you can tweak it anyway, if you get what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but so it's a nice feature. But that's one thing you have to keep in mind with if you're converting. You'll have to redraw all the priority screens at least, but that's a lot easier than being an artist. So okay, where am I here? should learn stuff, man. Funny. I've also considered making a game called Knight's Quest. Oh, really? Well, okay. I missed the Mark Ferrari style gradients in SCI. Oh, yeah. I mean, you could do it. You could hand pixel edit it like he did in EGA. Mark Ferrari did the backgrounds for LucasArts, early LucasArts games. Well, and the VGA ones too. But he did a lot of the EGA ones. So, like, I think he did Indiana Jones Last Crusade, Monkey Island 1, Loom. And he hand painted all those pixels, all those dithered patterns. He's absolute monster, absolute amazing person. The this image here, where is it? Starting soon. This background right here, Mark Ferrari drew that, hand painted it in Deluxe Paint. I think he did. He used at the time. This was an old, and all the animation here is not actually animation. It is color cycling. Everything moving on the screen is just color palette cycling, which is incredible. Here's another one. He did the same thing. The size is all messed up, but he did the same thing, same image, just changed the colors. That's the only thing he changed. And all that animation is color cycling. He's an absolute genius when it comes to digital art, and yeah, I had to use him, and I had to reference him there. Yeah, I wonder why they made him yellow. Oh, Graham was the first yellow-skinned animated character, not Homer. Yeah. Yeah, I guess they made him yellow to, I don't know. Maybe there was more orange, that orange pinkish color on the screen than yellow, and he'd blend in too much, so they had to have a color that differentiated. Although that wasn't an issue in King's Quest 3. Alexander has that flesh-colored tone. What about Tweety Bird? Yellow skin human, yeah. That's cool. The priority bands can change in later games. Yeah. I'll, well, I won't do that right now, but if I brought up a VGA game, I could show you how it can move around. Hey there. Hey, Big Harry Marty. Good to see you. Sorry I missed you there. Just blabbing away here. How you doing? Thank you for explaining all this. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for listening. I assume you guys joined to see what the development of an SCI game is like, but sometimes it can get long-winded and boring, so let me know if that happens. I'm trying to explain it in as much layman terms as possible, so it's interesting. This is how it's interesting to me, anyway, and I'm pretty much a layman with this stuff, so... Yeah, but those Ferrari effects don't translate well to vector-based SCI drawing. That's true. You could do the whole thing with pen. Like, Mark Ferrari drew it in all the LucasArts screens in Deluxe Paint with bitmaps, and LucasArts didn't use vectors at all, to my knowledge, so he had the advantage of being able to do that. You could use a pen tool and draw it all pixel by pixel. It might end up being a little bigger, though, because it's storing draw commands and not each pixel is a bitmap. Oh, sweet background indeed. Yes, it is. Ferrari is a god amongst men. Yes, he is. There's a really interesting talk he did at GDC about he called it 8-bit and 8-bitish art, and he went into detail about how he did backgrounds back in the day and then how he did backgrounds these days to mimic it, but with the tools today you can do a little more, use more colors instead of just 256. Like he also did the artwork for Thimbleweed Park, Ron Gilbert's latest adventure game, which was kickstarted a few years ago now. And yeah, the artwork for that game is gorgeous. I absolutely love his art. Him and Mark Crow, who did the artwork for Space Quest, the Space Quest games. They're my two favorite video game artists. Alright, so I was going to sit. Here she is. So her, I might have to, so let's change it to just in front, maybe? No. Maybe I'm thinking about this backwards. Okay, it's just behind the center of her dress, right? So maybe we'll do right on her heel. Maybe that's the best place. Let's try that. Save. Rebuild resources. If you don't rebuild resources, everything you save will save a duplicate. So if I go and save again, if I go to the view list now there's 2 Valanices. And every time I save, it'll make a new one and a new one and a new one. It's a bit redundant that way, and you have to rebuild resources to get rid of all the duplicates. The reason there can be duplicates is because back in the day, Sierra had to span these games on multiple disks, and so the game's resource files are made up of a resource map file, which has the map of every object in the resources, and which denotes the sizes of them, and just it maps where they are in the resource files, which are named resource.001, resource.002.003, 4, so on, however many disks they needed. And they'd save duplicates of some resources on multiple disks, like, for instance, Ego's walking animation, his view sprite, will be on every single disk. Because when you swap disks, it still needs to have the graphic of Ego walking around. So that's why there was redundancy. But we don't need that these days because we're not trying to fit this on multiple disks. So we just do rebuild resources, and it truncates it all down to 1 copy of everything. But if you opened a Sierra game unmodified, you'd see multiple many resources, including some backgrounds, even right up to SCI 1 games. So like King's Quest 6, Police Quest 1 VGA, Space Quest 5. They'll all have, all games that were on floppies, they'll all have duplicate resources. Yeah, I saw that. Such a great talk. It is. And I recommend everyone watch it if they're interested in classic art. Mark Ferrari GDC 8-bit and 8-bit-ish art. Look it up. It's pretty good. Oh man, yes, the intro of Space Quest 3 is amazing as well. Absolutely. Yeah, I loved Mark Crow's sci-fi artwork. His style of doing things. Even way back in Space Quest 1. Like the colors he used for certain things, like the underground cave. Most people would just use like, you know, brown and gray maybe for colors, but he would use like a purple, and he just used unconventional colors for lighting and shading, and really made everything pop out and look interesting and not like anything else. He was really good at that. Okay, so we've done that. Let's look at the screen. Now, if we go here, she's going to be at 154, 147. So let's set that to 154, 147. And then compile it. And let's see what happens. Game. Oh, see, I changed the origin point for 1 cell to show that example, and now when she walks, she that 1 cell is the origin point's off, so she just bounces everywhere. So I better fix that quick. Fix that. There we go. Save. Rebuild. Play. There we go. Now she's walking normal. But I didn't actually code in any code to make that stuff happen. So Graham kisses Valanice. In place of this, I'll just comment that out. This is where I want the animation to happen. So we're going to what's the code again? G-Ego. G-Ego. We're going to hide Ego. We're going to hide Valanice. In case you're wondering why I'm not talking much right now, I'm also excuse me. It's because I'm also watching another friend's stream right now, and it's a little tricky to concentrate on both. That's fine. Thank you for the view anyway. Need to get a drink. Stay hydrated. Yeah, that's fine. Anyone wants to lurk or view multiple streams, I am okay with that. So, I'm out of breath. Sorry, I got 2 flights of stairs to get up to our apartment. We live in a 5-plex, and we have our own entrance. And it's a 2 flights of stairs to go to the top where our apartment is. So, a little out of breath. Okay, so here's where we're going to put the code. We hide ego, we hide Valanice, and we need a P magical moment. So we'll go P magical moment. Actually, what I should do is load that in here. P magical moment init. And then P, but at the same time, hide it. I don't want to show it right away. And then I'm also going to do, how do I do that? Ignore actors. I might not need to. I'll leave that for now. So we're going to show magical moment right there. And it's going to be a timed event. So I'm going to have to, you know, I'll set that as a script instead. I'm not going to do that all here. So I can do instance S. What do I call this? I already called that magical moment. Maybe I'll call this magical moment of script properties, and I'll call the prop kissing. What the heck? Let's not be clever. Let's just call it what it is. So I'll get rid of all this. We're gonna do set script. How does that work again? I need to reference. I'll have to check out another room with the script because I forget how to declare it exactly. What room has some scripts? Probably right here. So the top of the mountain has carpet script. Okay. Instance carpet script of script. So it has no properties that I want to set. But a script object can have methods. So, oh, it has a change state method. So the room can have its own change state method, and then you can add more instances, more script instances with their own change state methods. And this is how Sierra did it. So if there's a little animated sequence where the player doesn't have control, or even an animation on the screen that plays at random, like waves crashing on the rocks, that'll trigger randomly, that would be its own script. And it would just trigger an animation, and then you'd set it to be a random call whether it happens or not. And that's one of the things that an instant script could do. Another thing would be a sequence where the player loses control, like Graham kissing Valanice, which is what we're doing right now. So we need, I'm just going to copy this. Let's copy the whole method, because I'm lazy. Boom. Wait a sec. Yeah, that's what I thought. You need to go back one. Gotta keep my tabs straight. Okay. Change state, new state. So this is just a variable it's creating within the method. And we'll assign state, new state, switch new state. So if the state is 0, this is what happens at the beginning of the script. We set program control on and not player control. Assign the global variable of program control to true. I don't know why this doesn't do this in this procedure. Let's take a look. I can't. I don't know where it is. Okay. There's a local variable in that other script called gcarpet flying true. I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to get rid of that. So ego hide, it already does that there. And we're not going to change. So the next state in this change state method would be after it does this. So this is the carpet flying script. After it draws to the edge of the screen, it animates the riding the carpet to the edge of the screen, it'll change the room. So we don't need to change the room, so we're going to get rid of that for now. The set cycle forward, we're going to do that. I'm going to call this kissing init. Well, I suppose we could initialize it every time we need it. Yeah, I shouldn't initialize. Okay, I won't do it that way. Oh, but I forgot. I need to figure out how it's calling carpet script. Okay. Self, set script, carpet script. Okay, so self in this case would be the room script. So the room is setting the new script to be carpet script. So self That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. Boom. 2s magical moment. So it's going to set the script and call its change state method, its first state. And it'll execute all this code. What happened to... Okay, there we go. Lost my mouse for a second. P kissing, which is not going to... Set steps sets the step size. So how many pixels it moves at once. So in this case it was 4 by 4, so it'll move 4 pixels sideways and 4 pixels up and down. when it walks. So for the carpet it has to move pretty fast across the screen, so you skip more pixels. Ego would generally move 1 or 2 pixels at a time, I think, something like that, and it would look like he's walking in place, but the carpet's got to go faster, so you increase the step size. I don't need to do that because he's not walking, so set priority to G ego priority. Like this asks, okay, the reason it says priority question mark in this syntax is, what is the priority of G ego? And then, so it's like, it's getting the value of G ego's priority and passing it to P kissing's set priority. Ignore control white, we don't need that. That's only if you don't want the animating moving object to be stopped by the white control color. It's not moving, so we can get rid of that. Position. We don't need to change the position. It already has its own coordinates. We don't need to set the loop. It's only got one loop. We're going to set cycle forward. Yes, we don't need to set motion, but we do want it to animate forward. And then in the next state, I would like it to set cycle forward self, I think. Wait, is that what? Bring that back a sec. Yeah. I think that'll trigger, right? I might be wrong about that. We'll see. We'll find out. What do comments look like in SCI scripting language? Normally it's 2 backslashes. That used to work in SCI Studio syntax. Doesn't work anymore. Or /* and then close it with a */ Doesn't work anymore. Now it's just one line commenting with a semicolon. That's what they look. And you have to use one every line. That's just the syntax that was chosen, so that's what it is. That's what it looks like. In the syntax coloring here, which I believe you can change. Maybe, maybe not. Probably can't change it in this. Oh, plugins. I'm not sure what kind of plugins you can use with this, or what have any of them been made, but yeah, I don't think you can change. But that's the syntax. That's what it looks like. Semicolon. So after it cycles forward to the end of the loop, we want it to cycle backward again. So maybe we'll hold that kissing animate at the end of the kissing animation. We'll hold that for like 1 second. So we'll go assign seconds 1, and then after 1 second it'll trigger the next state, which we will do p kissing set cycle backward. How do back what is the beginning? I think it's beginning, actually, right? Set cycle beginning, and then trigger self again, and in the last state we will be kissing. Oh, I need the parentheses. Hide p kissing. Oh, I didn't hide Valanice here, actually. A Valanice hide. P kissing hide. P ego show. A Valanice show. And then return control to the player, which would be player control. Assign G program control false. I believe that's it. Oh, we compiled successfully. Let's see what happens. DOSBox. Okay. Oh. Oh, something got hicked up there. Now we're stuck here forever. So for some reason it didn't continue. So it's just cycling forward and infinitely, and it doesn't actually trigger the script at the end. Well, they're really going at it, aren't they? Yes, hide Valanice. Graham is only kissing himself. Val is nothing but an illusion. Okay, so that's a bug I gotta fix. So romantic, absolutely. So instead of forward, because that just cycles forward infinitely, I gotta do end. It'll cycle to the end and then trigger back. We'll compile, rebuild, and then go again. I'm tired of hearing that sound. I'm just gonna save again. Indoor. Kiss girl. There we go. Perfect. Oh. I can't do it again because it's already at the end of the script. How would I... I'd have to... Oh yes, I have to call the specific state when I first call the script if I want it to happen again and again. So, when I call the script up here, set script, there's a way to cue the specific state. I forget what it is. I have to look at the help file. I don't remember, and I can't think of a... Well, maybe it's in the Grandma's Cottage screen, but I did it with the door script, maybe? What scripts are here? Knock script. So that'll happen over and over if I knock on the door at Grandma's house. So here we assign one cycle. Program control, G go hide. Knock loop, 1, set cycle forward for 8 cycles. And then after 8 cycles, cycles are different than seconds. Cycles are however fast the computer, or virtual computer in DOSBox's case, can execute. So after 8 cycles, which doesn't necessarily translate to seconds, if you want real time, no matter what speed the game is set to, use seconds. If you want the speed to be scaled, then with the game speed that you set it to, then you use cycles. I don't know why CR programmers didn't use this in SCI 1 games. For people who are in the know about that, there are speed issues with later Sierra games from running too fast, and it's probably because they use cycles instead of seconds, or vice versa, or something to do with the wait method or the wait kernel function that SCI has. It'll pause the game for a certain amount of time and wait for the processor. It wasn't done properly. So with SCI 0, it's not so bad. But if you want to really have control of everything and have all the speed scaled, use cycles. I'll probably change that back to cycles in the other room too, actually, now that I say that. So for 8 cycles, it just continuously knocks, and then after 2, and then it'll cycle at once to the end of the loop, and then for 2 cycles, and then switch. So then the next state hides the ego knock, shows ego again, and then prints a message. So when this is called knock script, that'll be up here in the handle event method. Knock door. Knock script, change state 0. That's what I need. So we declare it set script knock script, but then we do knock script change state 0. You go knock init hide set script. Oh, okay, that's how I did it. Let's do that then. So self set script. Okay. This magical moment. Change state. How did that look again? :0. All right, does that work? Will that screw it up? I'm just gonna save the game right here at the door. I have to save it outside the room because if I save inside the room, then it's gonna save the old version of the script, and it's got to load the new script. So the save files in these games are like virtual machine save states, and so it saves exactly what the script was at the time, and it won't load in the new script unless you leave the room and come back. So I have to save outside and move in. You found her. This girl. Do it again? No, it's still screwing up. So I gotta figure out why that's happening. I'm not doing something right. Those early 90s games had a lot of speed issues. It's the reason it took me over 20 years to be able to play Space Quest 4 all the way through. That's one of the worst offenders, yeah. Skaterama, right? Can I get a Skaterama? F in the chat for Skaterama. So many things to handle with programming, yeah. So one, like, debugging can be, there's just a lot of things, a lot of bases you gotta cover, that's all. And you got to be aware of them all. It's usually not just a simple matter of do this and oh, it works. There's at least in SCI there's a few extra things you got to take care of. So change state 0. So maybe I can. So magical moment. I won't init it here. I'll show it here, and I'll initialize it here. Nice magical moment. Or, I'm sorry. What is it called? Peak hissing. That's what it is. Peak hissing. Which sounds questionable, but let's just ignore that. We'll init it. We'll hide it. And we'll set script to, not to, I'll just type magical moment. Okay. Right? Is that what I did? Init, hide, set script, knock script. Oh, I forgot the colon. And then as magical moment change state 0. Okay, that should work. Rebuild. Kiss girl. There we go, and now it works every time. Because when it's called, it just has to know, okay, we need to go back to the first state 0, to do it all over again. Otherwise, it's just gonna redo the end of it, so it doesn't animate anything again. Oh yes, Deathorama. That's the major one reason SQ4 is my least favorite Space Quest game. Oh, that's a shame. It's my favorite. Luckily with DOSBox, those timer issues are not an issue at all. So. And even ScumVM, if you want to use that, it deals with the speed issues nicely. Even without speed issues, Skaterama is kind of frustrating. Yeah, it can be. It's too bad you couldn't skip that like you could the Monolith Burger making sequence. I remember hitting the turbo button on my 486 DX266 because that slowed the machine down to roughly around a 386 at 16 megahertz in order to complete some of the arcade sequences in Sierra games. Yep, I have a 486 DX266 and it has a turbo button too, which is kind of weird that the turbo button slows the computer down when turbo means speed up. I don't know why it does that, but I use ScumVM in the Mac version of Space Quest 4 to get past Skaterama. Well, whatever works then. That'll certainly work. Okay, so we fixed that. Water. Yay. Yay. So is that still going by seconds? I think I'll change that to cycles. Seconds, you have. No, I'll keep that seconds. That's not going to be game breaking or anything. And this script, I'll keep to 1 second as well. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, what's next? In AGI Studio, let's look at these order of events again. You have found her. Okay, so, okay. If you haven't been in the room before, that's what this is saying. If you haven't been in the room before, print you found her. And then set it to 0. How would 61 be changed then? 61. If you've entered, if V61 equals 1, position, oh. It'll, oh, okay. So if you, excuse me, if you leave the room, this handles, variable 61 handles whether you've been in the room already and Valanice has moved to the center of the room and printed this message, you have found her. So that sounds like a global variable. I'm going to stay away from global variables for now. Global variables take up a lot of heap space, so memory in the game. Here's how many global variables I have right now. Oh, not too many. I got 19. 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, those aren't global variables. Never mind. Those are procedures. It's okay, these are making procedures public, as well as objects and possibly variables. So local. All the local variables in the main script are actually global variables. So we have, and I commented so I can keep track of what numbers they are, because in SCI's debug mode you can mess around with the variables, but you have to know what numbers they are, so I put in all the numbers. So we have ego. This is the object global variable that points to the ego's class. The game speed. Quit game. If quit game is set to true, the game will just dump to DOS instantly. So that's how quit game is handled in SCI. Gcred is the credit sequence, so all this stuff. The regions class, all stuff that makes the game work in specific ways. G ego weighting. This is ego weighting in water to knees. So this points directly to the view. Right? View 3 would be him wading in water. 3, yeah, he's wading into his knees. So the way I handle that is on the first beach screen, for instance, when he walks into the green, I believe, control color on the screen, he will change actually that's going to be a region, isn't it? Beach region. So regions are scripts that can be called in any room, so you don't have to duplicate code. So if you want the same code to like for instance, ego wading in the water and swimming, if you want the same code to trigger in multiple screens, you use a region instead, so it doesn't take up as much space or memory. So right here, if ego control is on the color green, set cycle stop walk, and it sets the views to G ego weighting. So that's how that works. And then when it's teal, green, wading deep up to the waist, maybe that's what that is. And then swimming when you're in the maroon color. That's a quick little lesson on that. Okay, back to the global variables. I have tons of global variables, and they are the killer of game memory. There's a better way to do this in SCI 1 using bit flags, and it doesn't take up near as much memory, and I'm probably going to duplicate it for King's Quest 2 because this uses a lot of, and all these, at all times, all these variables are being sent to the rest of the game, and it's got to load them all and be stuck in memory throughout the entire game. So there's less and less room the more variables you have for other things you might want to do, like load more scripts, and since SCI 1 is much more intensive script wise, it has a lot more things going on and a lot more kernel calls from the interpreter, I guess, and stuff. It doesn't have near as much room for global variables. So in SCI 1 there's only a set number of global variables, and then it uses these bit flags to keep track of global game events that you want to persist through every room. But for now, so G key quest is variable number 99, the global variable for what key quest you're on. So I went through this on Tuesday. If you haven't read the doors inscriptions yet, I have to go. Thanks for an awesome stream. We'll try to attend the next one as well. Thanks, Mediocre Gamer B. Good to see you here. Thanks for joining. You probably already left. I missed you, but thanks a lot. I appreciate you showing up. If you haven't read the inscription yet, it's just set to 0. So when it's first loaded into the game, it's set to 0, declared as 0. No quest. Once you get the first key... Oh, no. Once you've read the first door's inscription, it changes to 1. Now you have to get the first key. And then when you get the key, it's set to have first key. And all depending on what this value is set to, G key quest, it determines how a bunch of other things in the game works. Like, so the mermaid will not show up unless key quest is set to 1. So if you've gotten the first key, she's not going to appear again. If you've already gone underwater, gotten the key and left, she won't appear again, because then it'll be incremented to 2, have first key, and the game on that room will check, should I draw the mermaid yet? And it'll ask, what key quest are you on? And if it says 2 or 0, anything but 1, it's going to go, okay, I don't need to draw a mermaid. And then a whole bunch of interaction commands with the mermaid will be nullified as well. You won't be able to do them. So you have to keep track of that. I'll explain that in a second. So the screen with the mermaid is this one, which is script 15. So if I quest. So if G key quest is 1, initialize the mermaid, set cycle forward because she animates on the rock, and set her priority. And that's... Okay, so that's the only place it checks. So if you say give flowers to mermaid, okay, so the way I didn't check the key quest for typing these parser commands, but if GEGO has the bouquet of flowers, first of all, it's got to check to make sure it has that. Then it'll check if Eagle's distance to mermaid is within 40 pixels. Then print you graciously offer the beautiful bouquet of wildflowers. And you get rid of the bouquet of flowers. There's a global variable of mermaid. Mermaid has the flowers. And then change the game score to 2, or add 2 to the game score, rather. Then initialize the seahorse. And the seahorse appears on screen. And then assign horse appear 1. That's a local variable for the room. And mermaid set script. Mermaid dive. She dies. So there's a script lower instance in the script here that'll make her dive off and disappear, and she'll be gone. Otherwise, if you're not close enough to mermaid, it says not close enough. Or if you don't have the bouquet of flowers, it says you don't have that. If you just type give flowers, it says who do you want to give the flowers to? Or if you don't have the bouquet, it just says print don't have it. These procedures without a print statement are quick procedures you can call from any room that have already been set. So if I go to definition print don't have it, it's in the main script already. There's a whole bunch of these. Print don't have it. It says print you don't have it. So it just saves a bit of time if you want to print over and over this a message that's that's used a lot. So print good idea. You might try that later. You can have as many of these as you want. Print okay. I use that one a lot. For now. Print it is, print you are, just common responses. There are procedures made for all of those. Cool. Back to room 90. Thanks for the stream, Brandon. Lots of fun discussing Sierra game engines. I'm off to a meeting. Not as fun as this. Well, good luck with your meeting. I hope you get through it. Thanks for coming. All right, back to this now. So, I'm going to reset Eagle's position on this control to A Valanice is 154 by 147. I want Graham ego to be on 147 as well. Ego show, but also position at the X. A Valanice, excuse me, 154. So I'll do 174, 20 pixels away. 174 to by 147. So when the animation's done, he'll always be standing right in front of her. Let me just try that quick. Test that quickly. So I'd be standing up here, but if I'm within 20 pixels, kiss. And it held it there for a bit, and it repositions me right in front of her. So I could be here. Oh, and I should set the loop to facing west. So that would be loop. What's west again? I don't have it memorized right now. But I can quickly check. Will be loop 1. Loop 1. So that should, I'm not going to boot it up again. I know that's going to be what I want it to be. Show ego, set his loop to 1 and position him exactly here. Now, the other thing I wanted to duplicate was the, has that been open all this time, AGI Studio? Covering everything? I gotta remember that. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so maybe I'll just go back to display capture a slice of the screen then, because I can't control what windows are on top when I'm just capturing windows and not my display. So maybe I'll just move this off to the side like this. So just in case I forget, I'm not covering everything. So you found her. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. So kiss / embrace. Ignore objects. Distance, come closer. So the other thing was, if I'm within distance, okay. Come closer, kind sir. Okay, I need a local variable of Valanice kissed equals 0. And in the do it method, that's where I'll do it. If gego distance, how do I calculate distance again? See, I can't remember everything. If less than or equal to, okay, just gonna copy that. I should not be doing this. It's bad practice if you want to remember stuff, if you want to retain knowledge, but distance to a Valanice is less than or equal to 20. And if Valanice kissed, do I have to set all those in parentheses like that? Oh, if horse appear equals 1. Right. This is not C. I actually need to do if Valanice kissed equals 1. Is that right? Yes. Trigger the script. So P kissing. This is where I'll do it. Everything that's here, I'll just cut it out and put it here. And I'll change this to assign Valanice kissed to 1. That should do it. Oh, but it's going to do this repeatedly. Maybe I'll change it to, and then after that, okay, in in the script here, at the very end, I'll change assign Valanice kissed to 2. So it won't do it again unless I type it again. And when I type it again, it'll set it to 1, and then this will trigger again. So let's try that. Let's see how that works. Okay, kiss girl. Come closer. It's not doing it. And it's happening infinitely. Okay, I messed up somewhere. I messed up somewhere. Okay. Valanice kissed 0. Do it method. If ego is within distance, a Valanice 20. And if Valanice kissed is 1, he kissing init, hide, set script, magical moment, change state 0. But it will only become 1 if I type kiss embrace girl. And then the script, okay, maybe I should set this at the beginning then. Right here. Try it there. Will that work? Get rid of AGI Studio for now. Oh, what? Oh, yeah. That was just the message. It's still not doing it automatically. But it won't do it automatically. Why is that? Interesting. Otherwise, it's working how I want it to. Valanice kiss 2. Do it method. Do I have to dispose the script? I don't think I do. I'm not sure where I would do that anyway. If distance is within, let's increase the range. Although 20 should work. If G ego distance to a Valanice is less than or equal to 20. Now that's working. Or else, because this is the only place the kissing script is called. So, and it is happening. The kissing is happening. Let's recompile all the scripts for a second. Just in case. Something that can catch some things. See, after I've typed it, this should happen automatically. But I actually have to... Is it only in handle event? I put that in do it event, didn't I? Do it method. Where did I put this? Yeah, it's in the do it method. Okay, this is where I'm going to use some debug commands to figure out what's going on. Let's run it again. And just leave that there. I'm going to reference the main script. Door. To activate debug mode in SCI 0 games, you can do it in ScumVM a lot easier, but to do it in SCI 0 games in DOS, or DOSBox, you do shift, both shifts, and then the minus key on the numpad. So now I'm in debug mode. G ego is global variable 0. Whoops. Variable 0 is global. That's the stack. How did I do this before? I gotta wrap my mind around this again. what I'm trying to check is eagle's position. X. 0. No. I forget all the controls in debug mode. I wonder if they're documented somewhere. SCI 0 debug mode. Commands, controls. I'm just gonna Google this. Show memory. No, it's not right. I'm just doing research here. Alright, here's the commands. Internal debugger, shift minus. Changing variables can be easily done. So Q quits the game, B sets a breakpoint, A inspect ID and accumulator, C inspect current object. Sounds right now. Show free heap. Inspect object or memory. Inspect object 0? No. Okay, no. Inspect ego. Okay. Here's all the information about ego. His coordinates are here, y by x, and there's also a z coordinate, which is not used very often. It's using view 1, loop 1, cell 0. Yep, that's all right. It shows the edges of the sprite coordinates, so the top is at 108, blah, blah, blah. Cycle speed is 0. Move speed, where's the position? Oh, it's here. 155 by 199. So inspect a Valanice. There we go. It's superior. It's super is act. It's an object of act. It's derived from act. I'm repeating myself. Position is 147 by 154. Kiss. Whoops. Shift D to continue. Kiss girl. Come closer. Okay, I'm close. Shift minus inspect Valanice kissed. Oh, I can't inspect a variable. Inspect L1. How do I address a local variable? Change a local variable. L. Variable 1. Nope, that's not right. 0. I have 2 variables. Am I just not seeing this correctly? I have 2 variables. Valanice Convo and Valanice Kiss. The names might not pass to the interpreter. It's just logging them in order, starting with number 0. Like global variable 0 is ego. Global variable 1 is the game object KQ2. Global variable 3 is 3, which is speed of the game. Speed of the game is set to 2 right now. Global variable 4 is quit. If I change this to 1, it'll quit right away. So local variable 1 is a memory address. Why? Is that just a location? How do I inspect it? So objects with addresses. Shift. Oh, wow. Yeah. These are all the objects loaded into memory, I think. And it's overlapping on the screen. Yikes. Temp variables. Okay. 210. What are... No. Temporary variables are not the same. Move to... Yeah, okay, no. That's not it. Cross send. Shift. Oh, here we go. It even has a help. Inspect ID and keep. So this is everything that I just read. Edit global variable. Edit local variable. So what if I... Can I type the name? Will that work? Oh, Valanice. No, it's not long enough at all. D5E2. That's an address. That's not a value. Okay. Show stack usage. Procedure, P machine. Inspect current object. The current object is game. Okay, I'll have to just figure it out manually then. Let's go back to SCI Studio. Let's see here. I should play some music in the background quietly, so it's not so silent. I'm trying to figure out have that pretty low. Trying to figure out why this isn't queuing up. It's happening, it's just not happening automatically. If Valanice Kiss is set to 1. Oh, but it's only being set to 1 when I type. Oh, of course. Okay. So even if I'm close, it's not going to happen until I type it. How can I control that? So I gotta think of a way that when I get close, it'll happen anyway, unless it's already happened. Okay, what if I type it? No, but if I type it, it sets it to 1, and when I get close, it should happen automatically. Maybe I should switch these around. If it's set to 1, then check if the eagle's within distance. Will that make a difference? Maybe not. Let's try it. Kiss girl, come closer. Nope, will not work. The logic of this, I am not catching properly. I am getting the logic wrong somehow. Yeah, pulling my hair out. That's what a lot of debugging is. You think it'll work one way, but it really is not. Throat's dry. Distance Valanice 20. So when I type it, oh, it's only, okay, yeah, that's what I missed up there. Okay, it's only setting Valanice Kiss to 1 if I'm within the distance. It should set it either way, right? So we'll set it there. But if the distance is greater than 20, print come closer. There we go. I think it'll work now. Kiss. Whoops. iKiss. New Apple project. Boom! It works! Well, the timing changed. You see that? Seems like it takes longer sometimes than others. Am I just imagining that? I'll lower this speed. Yeah, that was really fast there. Why did that go fast? And if I do it again, the speed is varied. It shouldn't be varied at all. Should have checked if Valanice Kiss is 0, not 1, and do it. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I messed up there. I shouldn't have had the condition if I, yeah, down here. That's the problem. I forgot to change that because I moved the code from here up here and I forgot that I didn't need, yeah. The only case I need here is if I'm not close enough, print this. But if I'm close, do this up here. Everything should have been done up here. So, yeah, so let's go down to that script. Something's wrong. So the hold is different. Maybe I should change the cycles here. Set cycles to 20. That might be too long. Let's try 10. Remember, setting the cycles scales the speed to depend on what speed you have the game set to. Not real time, but usually I think on default speed, 10 cycles is 1 second. Can't remember. But let's try it. Try it again. Whoops, I launched 2 versions. Door. And actually I'm gonna need DOSBox. Kiss the girl. That seems consistent now. See, timing everything by real-time seconds is not reliable. Even though it seems like it should be. I'm going to increase the game speed now and try again. Yeah, maybe I'll do like 15 cycles or 20 cycles. Let's try 15 first. Now it's scaled to the game speed. When I finalize this animation, this sequence in with new animation and everything, new sprites that I want to put in, and with music and everything, I might want to time it to the music, which I can do as well. SCI has the ability to queue script events based on a certain point in the sound file. So let me just show you that real quick. Every sound resource. Okay, KQ fanfare. I can open it up. These are all the MIDI events. So if I wanted to, I could add a... How do I do that? A MIDI event. Add. There. And I can move it around. This cue point in this sound file, I can put it anywhere. It's the first one. Okay, so the position is numerical, you can see here. I can't edit it, I can just move it around here. But this would be cumulative, non-cumulative. I'm not sure what that does, I don't remember. Oh, but you can set the value and the time right here. Okay, yeah, good. So if I can change that exactly where I want, it'll move it. So the value could be 0, 5, whatever. I can set the script to look for that cue value, and it'll wait for that cue before it triggers the next change state or whatever the next event I want to have happen. It can also happen the other way. So a sound, obviously, a sound won't play until you trigger it in a certain change state. So with this back and forth of interaction between the script and the sounds, you could actually duplicate something like the iMuse system in LucasArts games fairly easily. I can't remember if the script can controlling like volumes of certain MIDI channels, but that's something LucasArts could do. In Day of the Tentacle, when you walk around as Bernard in the hotel lobby, the mansion lobby, if you're standing still, it'll play the theme, but when you walk around, it'll increase the volume of the percussion channel, and then you'll hear a hi-hat. And then when you stop walking, the hi-hat fades out, and it seamlessly is playing the whole time. I'm not sure if you can do that kind of channel manipulation in SCI, but you could do something like Woodtick on Monkey Island 2, that first area with all the ships on the harbor, and then you go in each ship and it changes the theme dynamically. So there's a hub theme that plays, and then when you walk in to one of the ship shops or whatever, like there's a restaurant, there's a woodworker, there's a laundromat, and then there's a hotel. And depending on which one you walk into, it plays a transition theme, and then plays that location's theme. You could do that with SCI in this way. So that's pretty cool. So when I get to this part, with the kissing animation, I might want to time that to a cue in the sound when I want the kissing to stop. That way, it doesn't matter what speed the game is at, it's going to wait for that cue point in the sound file, and it'll be reliable because the song is playing in real time, and you can time it that way. So I'll probably do that, or maybe even change the game speed to something specific, but I don't like to do that too much and then change it back. I ran into that Tuesday with the carpet riding sequence. When you land, it resets the game speed back to default. I gotta fix that. So so we're just past 11 now. In 2 hours, roughly, maybe a little less, I did a lot of talking too. We finally managed to get this Valanice kissing animation going. I know I was doing a lot of explaining, but it took me a good 20 minutes to figure this all out. And, you know, I'm partially distracted with the stream trying to explain everything, but also I haven't done this in a while, so I'm a little rusty when it comes to the logic of the programming, which is why I missed some states like why it wasn't triggering here. That's just, you get used to that after a while, it becomes easier, and if you don't do it for a while, you'll lose it all and you gotta re-get it back. So this will get easier when we go forward. So this whole stream was basically for that little that little animation, that can be how long it takes for someone inexperienced or rusty. And it's not like it's not fun. I still think it was fun to figure this out, and now that I've made it work, I'm very happy. So the next step would be to program in the other interactions, which probably won't take as long. That was a whole timed animation that had to happen in specific circumstances. The rest of these interactions probably won't be as intensive, so just move it there. So I've still got to program in look at the room, look at the girl, look out the window, capture the girl, kill the girl. It's just a funny... Because they had to think of all the responses that people might type in, so... It's a funny response. Hello, any word. Mary. I didn't implement that yet. I love you. I love you too. Yes, of course I will. Don't be... So I got to figure out exactly what triggers this flag 167 to print either don't be impatient you just met, or yes, of course I will. I think you have to kiss to get acquainted, and then it'll say yes, of course I will. I just had to see how you kissed first. And then speak to woman. My name is Valanice. What is your name? And then when that says, program in the conditions for when that says this is no time for small talk. So you've introduced yourself. Maybe I'll do a more rigid order of that. In the original game, you could just kiss, but maybe I'll say, get to know her first, and then she'll say, my name is Valanice. So the Valanice kissing local variable up here, maybe that'll have 4 or 5 states instead of just 3 right now. So it can track, like the key quest variable that I described earlier, which state you're in, and do them in order. So if you're after a certain state, you could always kiss her, but you can't always talk, and you can't always say marry. Those are conditions. So maybe that's what I'll do for that. You tentatively embrace the beautiful girl, your lips meet hers, and you're both in ecstasy. This was well worth playing the game for. I got a program in that too, which I didn't... I can do that real quick. Let's just throw that in real quick. That's quick. That's quick. Come closer, kind sir. But we'll say... Okay, so right here. After 15 cycles... we'll change this to 2, and this to 3, and this to 4. Print. There we go. So after waiting, except the only thing is, how then would I queue? What's a picture here that has... I have to queue the next state. I don't know if I do that by cycle. Yeah, I'll do it by cycles. So cycles 1. You can set how long the state's going to be at the beginning by signing cycles 1. And then, well, then maybe we'll hold it for another 10 cycles after that. So 3, sign cycles 10. And then this will be event state 4 and 5. Oh, unvariable cycle. Oh, cycles. Sorry. Compile, rebuild, test. So it can happen quickly. Not everything takes forever when you know what you're doing. There. You tentatively embrace the beautiful girl, your lips meet hers, and you are both in ecstasy. This is well worth playing the game for. And that won't go away until I press enter, so it doesn't matter how many cycles the state's in. The whole game is waiting for this display box to disappear. And then it holds it for another 10 cycles and goes back. Good. I like that. That's a perfect place to end, I think. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm sorry if I was a little too long-winded or I was a little too silent for too long. I'm still figuring this all out. Let me know how I'm doing. And if you like what I'm doing, follow if you haven't already. I appreciate all the followers. I got like 50 followers now, which is about 45, 46 more than I had on Monday. So thanks everyone for the interest, and I hope you're enjoying this as we continue, and as I get back into the swing of things, development might pick up speed. Well, it'll certainly pick up speed, and we'll be doing things a lot faster. You did it. Thanks for the stream. I was lurking. Oh, thank you, Pirate Savvy. Thanks for following. That's so great. Everyone check out Pirate Savvy. Follow her if you haven't. You probably know her already. She's a great streamer of the great community. She streams Sierra games and a bunch of other games, and she's just awesome. And a cosplayer too, right? But thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. All right. Well, thanks everybody. It's been great. I'm really enjoying these, so we'll stick to this tentative schedule then. I think this is going to work out. Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. for about 2 hours, and Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. So Tuesday and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Sometimes, LOL. Yeah. It was? It was what? Oh, thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks. You too. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot again. Take care. Yeah, take care, man. See you, Marty. I'll see you guys next week, Tuesday. Bye.